Welsh registration on ace plates, of which we approve, of course. Next to this Bedford CA, we've got a little Thames 300E. Incredibly original 1957 Foden S20. Look at the old sign writing on that, the original paintwork. We've got a Gunk brush it on, hose it off Gunk solution tin. Austin Cooper S Mark 1, very desirable now. This fantastic Series 1 pickup. Let's have a quick peek in through the window. How comfy does that look? Beautiful leather bench seats. Well, welcome to Old Classic Car, and today we are in sunny North Wales and sunny Llandudno, or Llandudno to pronounce it correctly. But yeah, we've not been to the Transport Festival at Llandudno for many years, so we thought what a great opportunity to come and have a look. The weather forecast was looking a bit average. I thought, well, we'll give it a go and see what happens. So let's go and have a quick look around. I think we're probably going to be looking at lorries first, but on the way there we're going to be passing a number of little stationary engines. I say a huge turnout of classic lorries here today, so I think we're going to have an interesting time. So let's see what we have here today. Starting off with a Volvo, an L-Reg 1972 Volvo, Mercedes, turbocharged Volvo, and a bit of British goodness here, AEC. What a beautiful ex-military AEC Matador. I remember many years ago we used to come on holiday to North Wales on a regular basis, staying around Llandudno and Conway, places like that. And I remember visiting Buckley's, and there's all sorts of lorries there, and I'm glad to see that they're still messing around with these things. These were used in the Second World War as gun tractors, that kind of thing. And then many of them after the war were converted and used in the timber trade, the timber business. Not quite sure what these ones were used for, but no doubt they've had many different uses throughout the years. Got another one here, another very local old lorry from Glan Conway, which is just a few miles over there, just over the hills. And it's got a, is that a Fordson, a standard Fordson? Yep. Hand cranked standard Fordson tractor on the back. No electric start on those beauties. So what year is that? It's probably early 40s, I would have thought, something like that. Beautiful cast radiators on those. That is what you call a starting handle. Look at the size of that. These old steam rallies are just great fun. Bit of everything. And here we've got an Albion. A diesel engine Albion, and it is an Albion Clydesdale from 1953. The slogan for Albion was "Sure as the sunrise," a Scottish manufacturer. Next to that, a Ford D-Series recovery vehicle. We've seen this one before somewhere. Very short wheelbase, big crane on the back, maybe Harvey Frost or someone like that possibly. Can't see any maker's name on it, so it could even be made specially for this particular vehicle, who knows. But yeah, great little vehicle. Next up, a Morris, a Cummins powered Morris turbo diesel. I'm guessing that's a much later engine to the vehicle that it's been installed into. I mean, what's that, F-Reg, the late 1960s. And on the back, now from here, I'm guessing Austin K8. Let's go and have a look around the other side. One of my favourite vans of the sort of late 40s, early 1950s. Yep, Austin K8. Those are beautiful, I do like Such a rare old vehicle that is now. It'd be great to see that on its wheels, driving around. But yeah, I was really hoping to see vehicles that we don't normally see over our way, and so far it's proving to be the case. Saying that, this has appeared at Astor Park. We've seen this Austin library vehicle. If you've not seen the Astor Park videos, please check that out. And the Leyland Clydesdale. A couple more recent lorries. Scania, an old Volvo. So that's on our edge. Not sure what model that is. Maybe an F86 or something. And this is a Thames, a Fordson Thames 4D. And insects do love a yellow vehicle. This one is covered in them. Still, if they're on that, it means they're not on me, because I made the mistake of wearing a yellow pulley today. But yeah, that's really nice. Diesel powered Thames of the mid 1950s, something like that. The ET6 was also offered, that had a petrol engine in it. But this is very definitely the diesel version. That's off the top of an old AA badge. And look at the back, I hadn't noticed that, on the back of the Volvo. Wow, what's that? A Bedford QL, I think we're looking at there. Like those AECs we were looking at before, ex-military, ex-World War II Bedford. Nice oily ragger that is. Wow, it's just been covered in old diesel just to preserve it. And what a fantastic thing that is. I'd love to get a closer look at that. Most lorries were limited to just 20 miles an hour. That's the reason my old Dodge was never road registered, because apparently if you didn't road register your lorry after the war, the 20 mile an hour limit didn't apply. But yeah, this is a beautiful oily ragger. Look at that. You wouldn't want to go leaning against that. And your immaculate tweed. What a beauty. There's no rust on it at all. It's an incredible survivor, that is. I love that. That's why it's so important to also look behind the vehicles that you see at the front, because quite often there's something interesting being towed or on the back. I've got a Leyland Constructor. Don't remember seeing one of those before. ERF, Sandbach's finest. I've got a Leyland Comet. Again, one I've never seen before. This has come over, presumably, it's come over from Derbyshire. Another beautiful old lorry. I do like commercial vehicles. You could have a lineup of identical commercial vehicles, but all the liveries would probably be different. That's what makes them interesting, you know. Got an Albion here. Albion Reaver, 1971, with the LAD cab, lad. With the Albion there in the livery of Tarmac. AEC Marshall, a flat body on it. Some cracking old lorries. Like I say, it pays just to go walking around amongst them, because you spot things that you don't see if you're just walking around. Ooh, there's a lovely old cement mixer there. We'll have a closer look at that afterwards. But yeah, you spot things when you go walking around. Got some proper ballast on the back of here. So of course usually it would have a huge trailer attached to the coupling just over there. So it'd probably be a little bit skittish or light at the back when there isn't anything on there, hence the ballast. Another mighty Volvo, an F88. Another Thames 4D, presumably with living accommodation on the back. A Leyland Comet. Just get some wonderful old sign writing at these places. If you've seen any other classic lorry videos that I've done, you know I do like a nice bit of sign writing. Hopefully the weather will stay good here at Llandudno in North Wales. Oh, we've got a Dodge. We like an old Dodge. Well, we do when they're working correctly. And a Foden, another one from Sandbach originally. This one we've seen at many steam rallies over the years. An AEC Mammoth Major tanker, 1972 milk tanker. Seddon Atkinson, Foden tractor unit, i.e. just the front end. A beautiful little Foden here. Not quite sure of the year. They didn't change much over the years. So it could be 30s, it could be early 50s. But what a beautiful little truck that is. Really short wheelbase on it as well. Let's have a peer in through the window. A scamel on the end here.
I don't use them. I don't use them.
We appear to be ERF Row here now, headed up by this beauty here. I'm guessing, what, late 50s, early 1960s, something like that. Hang on, there is an information board just on the rear of the cab. Let me see if I can see. 1962. Oh, there we go. There we go. 1962 Gardner diesel-powered ERF. And then the whole gaggle of slightly later ERFs up here. So let's have a quick scoot along here, see what we can see. Celebrating ERF, of course, which came from Sandbach, was founded by one of the Foden brothers who went off on his own and founded his own company in the same town as the Foden factory. So there's a little bit of rivalry there. This one's come all the way from Macclesfield. Wow, what a Bobby Dazzler. 1950 ERF 4LK 4x2 flatbed wagon. What a stunner that is. And facing that row of ERFs, we've got another row of ERFs. Let's have a quick scoot along here. That's one that's very familiar to us. This one we see all over the place. Some of the midway truck meetings that we've been to has been there. Astle Park, places like that, all over. Okay, I'm not quite sure of the layout of this field. It's been many years since I've last been here. It's got a great crawler on the back of this one. So what do we have here then? A platypus. An old tracked crawler produced by Platypus Tractor Company of Basildon in Essex. Never heard of them before. Wow, I like the badge on the front. Look at that badge. Okay, let's go down here. There's an old Fordson tractor. Fordson Major, an E27N. TXS 191, so what's that, early 1950s, somewhere like that. We saw the Fordson Standard before, the green one, and that's the big brother to it. Another Ford D series, this a coal merchant's lorry, J. Ledbetter and Son of Tamworth. Again, like all the vehicles here, beautifully turned out, whether restored or oily ragged. They're all magnificent in their own way. Another D series there from Buxton. Volvo from Shrewsbury, Paul's Transport. A Scania and a Foden tanker. Pritchard Brothers of Anglesey. The original old sign-written board above the cab there. Wow. I do like tankers, I don't quite know why, but maybe it's just because they're a little bit more unusual than a flatbed. Flatbeds are a lot more practical, you can put an old tractor or something on the back, but there's something about tankers I think that just look really nice. And I suppose you could actually convert it into living accommodation, so if you had a hinged door at the back, you could actually kip in there, couldn't you, I suppose? This is a more traditional living accommodation that's built into many of these lorries. The beauty here, great old fuel gauge. This one from Shrewsbury, according to the wonderful old sign writing on it, another Leyland Beaver. Right, so carry on down the line of lorries here at the Transport Festival in Llandudno. Another AEC, a Mammoth Major. What a handsome old lorry that is. Oh, this is the one with the cement mixer body on the back. Again, really great to see these very specialised bodies on the backs of these old trucks. Great stuff. What do we have here? AEC Mammoth Major, according to the mud flaps. There's clearly a fleet of vehicles belonging to the same owner. So that's a much later Mammoth Major, but in the same fleet as these two, but I like that one on the end now. Let's just have a look at those lamps again. Wonderful. Wow. Proper old lamps. Just imagine driving that back in the, 1950s. Stopping in at Greasy Spoons, old truck stops. Draining the coolant out every night, because often these things just ran with water in the cooling system, and it was a responsibility of the driver to drop the water out overnight during the winter, because otherwise you'd end up with a cracked block in the morning. Not many people used antifreeze back then, so it was plain coolant, plain water, but you had to remember to drain it all out at night, otherwise you were in real trouble. And there's a rare Albion. This is an Albion Claymore from 1963. You don't see many of those around now. Next up we've got a Bristol in the livery of BRS, or British Road Services. This dates to a time when the road haulage industry in this country was nationalised. The BBC Outdoors Broadcast TV lorry. I've seen this one before somewhere. Albion or Leyland. Take your pick. It's an incredible thing, this, with working cameras, all the gear inside it. It's just a fantastic bit of preservation. That takes preservation to a whole new level, not just restoring the vehicle, but all the original kit inside. A bit like the Bedford Mobile Cinema that we saw over at Bicester Heritage the other day. If you've not seen that video yet, please check that out. That's another incredible preservation job. Hey, let's keep going down here. Lorries everywhere you look. Scania, AEC from 1971. A couple more Scanias. A Leyland Clydesdale and a Riva alongside that. This has come up from Cannock. There's that lovely Austin K8 again. I did see a for sale sign over there. Hopefully it's not for the Austin. That could be a bit too tempting, but let's go and have a look. Ooh, the K8 is for sale. There you go. If you want an Austin K8, which I would very much like to do myself, and there you go, there's the opportunity. Very smart little K8. Anyway, must try not to be distracted by old vans for sale. I'm trying to downsize at the moment and not get more. Right, here we have a Scamel, about 1970 or thereabouts. Another Scania on a D in what's that, 1986 or thereabouts. A Scania and a mighty Kenworth. Wow. There's no mistaking an American truck. Wow. And a Freightliner alongside that. Right, next row, we've got a Sedan Atkinson there, powered by a Gardner 240 diesel engine. A Scania fire truck. It's quite a representation of Swedish vehicles here, Scanias and Volvos like this F12. It's come over from Ireland. Got a Ford, is that a I don't know, Cargo or Iveco, something like that. Nice old number plate on it. And a Thames Trader. A couple of years ago someone commented on the previous video saying they never see Thames Traders in my videos. Well, there you go, here's a matching pair of them. This one's bodied as a recovery vehicle, beautifully restored. Wow, that's a heavy bit of kit, that is. And that's the one alongside. This has got a drop side body on the back of this one. Oh, what a great pair they are. Same ownership. Next to the two Thames Traders, we've got another Bedford TK, this one with a beaver tail recovery body on the back. An AEC Mercury there, recovery vehicle. A Leyland Comet. That's an unusual body on the back of that one. Let's see if it says what it is. Emergency Mines Rescue Vehicle. So that's what that was for. Okay, next to this AEC Mercury, another Leyland Comet there with a flat body on the back. Ooh, an old bicycle as well. An old lady's bicycle. What do we have on here then? Beer, Brewer's Dray, an old Leyland Beaver. Incredible Sedan Atkinson, beautifully restored, and another Thames Trader, 1965 this one. Next to that, good old Atkinson. Another Leyland here. Another an Atkinson Raider. Albion. We've got a Matador here, very unusual bodywork on this one, doesn't look like any other Matador I've seen. I think I've seen this one before somewhere, maybe at Kelsall or the Malpas Steam Rally, somewhere like that perhaps, but a very unusual body on that. You don't normally see a bonneted body on these. And an incredibly original 1957 Foden S20, look at the old sign writing on that, the original paintwork. What a joy that is. So many people would have just repainted that and reinstated the livery or put their own livery on it, but no, this one's been preserved just as it should be, and that is just fantastic. It just shows its age on its sleeve, if you like. A beautiful old sign writing. Great old living accommodation on the back there. Looks proper comfortable, but yeah, what a belter that is. Leyland Beaver, AEC Mercury. And the sun's coming out again, magnificent. Another beautiful AC Mammoth Mark II, Mammoth Major Mark II next to this Leyland Beaver. Let me know in the comments which vehicle here you would like to take home, assuming you have the space for it, because they do take up a fair bit of room. That's why so many of these vehicles are owned by fleet operators, you know, operators of modern lorries, because they've often got the space, the equipment and so on to actually be able to maintain these things, because keeping one of these at home isn't easy by any stretch of imagination. And there's another example of making sure you look behind the vehicle on display, because behind this ERF I failed to spot this Bedford, an S-type Bedford. Wow. You might recognise that front end from the old green goddesses, the old fire appliances that the army used to run. Same basic cab as that, obviously built backwards with all the firefighting equipment. Lovely job. Good opportunity to have a peer underneath an old lorry of the 1950s. What do we have here? A Ford Model T. I think this one lives fairly local to us. We spotted one of these down the back lanes not so long ago. And it looked very similar to this. As well as lorries, of course, there are plenty of tractors and some glorious coaches and buses around. There is in fact a bus service operating into Llandudno itself, so we may well avail ourselves of that before the day is through. Right, let's carry on down here. Volvo F10, another F10. An old AEC that's been built up as a recovery vehicle, originally ex-RAF, then went to Eastern National and Crosville, converted into a recovery vehicle. A big crane on the back. This one's come down from Oldham in North Manchester. Austin there. Bedford TK. Aggregate supplies, sand, gravel, stone and ash. Where have we seen this one? Probably at one of the Midway truck stop meets and on the Cheshire Run. Which that reminds me, the Cheshire Run's on tomorrow, so hopefully I'll get a video there as well of even more classic lorries. Another Thames Trader, there we go. Never say Thames Traders don't feature on the channel, because we've had 4 now, I think, so far today alone, which is great news. Another classic Foden there. Much squarer one here. Apologies, I don't know all the model numbers of all these old lorries, but I'll do my best. There's a Sedan here. I don't see too many of these around now. Sedan diesel on a 1967 registration. Let's keep going down here. Another Dodge. We like Dodge. That's on an M, early 70s. A Volvo F86. Another Foden. Is that an S20 perhaps? With the Mickey Mouse cab, I think, because these wraparound screens look a bit like Mickey Mouse's ears apparently. That's an S21, 1962 that was. This is an S21 of 1969. Looks like this one's going to be unloaded anytime soon, once the pressure's up in the braking system, I would imagine. You'd have to run it up for a little while just to build up the pressure. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but hopefully when the front reveals itself. Mercedes. There's something interesting on the end of the row here. Now it's badged up as a Beetle. JFM 990 is the registration, and it seems to be some sort of mobile display vehicle for Crossville. celebrating the history of the Crosville Bus Company. What a great vehicle that is. Here we've got an FTF. Unless you say I have no idea what that is. 1981 FTF F58 ballast tractor. That's a new one on me. A bit more familiar here, we've got an Atkinson Gardner 180 powered Atki. A Scammell contractor. There's a serious bit of kit. Well, let's wend our way over here past this great old Foden and see what PSVs, public service vehicles, coaches, buses and so on are here today. That's a very clean transit actually. You don't see too many good ones of those now. Usually the front arches rot off those like crazy, so it's rare to see one that nice. That's what's so good about this event really. You've got a beautiful location, especially when the weather's like this, and you get a huge variety of vehicles, many of them coming from a long way away. It's mainly a 3-day event, Saturday, Sunday and Bank Holiday Monday. But I think people probably camp for a few days before and after just to make like a week of it. It makes sense certainly if you're coming a long way, but wow, what a beautiful thing that is. A dual-bodied Bedford OB. If you've seen the video I did at the Isle of Wight Transport Museum, the bus museum there on the Isle of Wight, you'll see they had one of those in there and we had a good look at that one as well. That's unusual though, there's Bristol as well. Very unusual grille on that. I don't think I've ever seen one of these before. Yeah, what a stunning old girl that is. Clearly used on a wedding recently. Dates to 1950. I just love the shape of these. All the thought and attention to detail that went into styling these. None of it was necessary. But there was a real pride in building something that looked fantastic as well as fulfilling a role. There aren't many coaches that look better than that. I do love these directional arrow indicators built into the rear body. An interesting AEC just pulled up as well.
Yeah, that's also what we was...
Dennis, and there's that Bristol and a glorious old Bedford OB. We've got a double-decker AEC here now, TTT 781 and AEC Regent. And a Leyland Leopard coach alongside that. Big old Dennis. Leyland, all these makes of bus that seem to have disappeared. Got a Routemaster, an AEC, RML 2515, a Bristol low decker, not sure what this is, a Leyland Leopard, an earlier one. Not many clues as to what that is, a Volvo B10M. This is the sort of thing I remember going on school trips in the late 1970s. Wow, a beautiful coach-built Bedford there. The smell of bacon is wafting across the showground, which is quite difficult to ignore. Got a Holton Transport coach of some description, a Dennis Dart that was. A Ford. What's that? It's duple coachwork. Twin steer, so that'll be a Bedford VAL. Same chassis as used on the Italian job bus, or the coach rather, the one where all the minis went in and then they chucked them off down the side of the mountain. That was a twin steer Bedford VAL or VAL chassis, just like this. Slightly different body, I think, but that's what this chassis is. A cut down Leyland. Yeah, that's quite rare actually. Between these two coaches we've got a rally runabout. This takes me back to the 1970s. Dad had a matching pair of these. And when I was very, very small, I used to sit on a petrol tank there over the back wheel and cling on for dear life as we bombed around the local fields. And then when I was large enough and old enough to ride it myself, I did just that. They're great little things. 49cc mobile engine. I remember that. I remember taking those apart several times. That's the coil pack. And then in the end, I think he built up one out of the two using the best bits of the two, and that served us quite well for field duties for a little while. And I ended up swapping it for an early Honda 50 for some reason, which never ever ran. So seems to have started a pattern of me owning vehicles that don't like running very much. Okay, anyway, I've got a Bristol RE here, half cab Foden coach. We often see a red half cab Foden at events nearer to us. I don't remember seeing this one before. Beautiful. Even the area where the nameplate is above the cab, just beautifully done. Not sure where my youthful assistant and Mrs. OCC are. I think they headed off towards the auto jumble area because he's got a bit of birthday money burning a hole in his pocket, so he wants to invest it wisely. Oh, another, wow, 3 duple bodied Bedfords here. Fun. What a sight for sore eyes that is. Oh, I could stand here all day just looking at those. Snowdonia Tours. LTT, so that's a Devon registration down sort of Exeter or Exmouth direction, because RA40 is FTT. So that's how I know where that one came from. I didn't have to rely on my I Spy book of car numbers, which is back at home. I knew that one off the top of my head. But yeah, beautiful looking things. Wow. LTA 750, Royal Blue. Wow. They're just stunning. What a treat to see so many of these duple-bodied Bedfords. Apologies if I'm rambling on a bit about these, but I just think these are the bee's knees. And on the end here, a Bedford CA minibus. So this is a Mark II Bedford CA, the short wheelbase, the CAS. There was a CAL, which was the longer wheelbase version. The Mark 1s had a 2-piece screen, a divider between the two screens. Then they went to a 1-piece screen like this on the Mark II, and then the Mark III had a much deeper screen, much taller screen on it. So that marks this one out as a Mark II, and it's a minibus, so it should have seats in the back. Yep. So this is the minibus version, with proper seats. And there was also a Worko bus, which had wooden slatted seats that ran sort of down either side, and you'd sit facing inwards. So there's many different variations on the Bedford CA theme. There we go, Utilibrake. So that'll have been done by Martin Walter, people who did many of the camper van conversions on Bedfords and other chassis. If you remember driving any of the vehicles that feature in this video here in Llandudno today at the Transport Festival, please let me know in the comments. It's always great to read your memories of any of the vehicles that feature in these videos. Whether it's a big old Leyland road train at the end there, or an ERF E10, one of these turbocharged ERFs, big Scania perhaps. Some of the V8s were fantastic. This is a V8 version. These make an incredible sound, especially on the overrun. We were fortunate enough to see one of those on the Cheshire Run, I think, last year. Beautiful thing. Got a Mack here, an American Mack. And wow, talking of Macks, look at the shape of the cab on that. What an incredible looking old truck that is. Absolutely stunning. It's on a Shropshire registration, 1965. Presumably it spent most of its life. Is that Indiana? Deedsville? A much bigger Mack on the end here. But it's this red one that I'm really drawn to. Just look at the curves, the shape of that cab. Presumably this is fiberglass, a one-piece front. An auto car constructor, Cummins powered. I couldn't resist having a quick walk along the back of these Bedford OBs as well. Please forgive me. Got a few Plaxton bodied vehicles here as well. Very much 1970s, this one's sort of about mid 1970s, I think, something like that. And like I said before, this is the sort of era of coach that I remember going on rides, maybe to Chester Zoo or to the swimming pool with the school, something like that. A DAF, that's an unusual one. A Leyland, a double-decker Leyland. A Cheadle, that came from where I grew up. I was born and grew up in Cheadle, Cheshire. I've dripped many an oil on the roads, many a drop of oil on the roads of Cheadle and Gatley. And a Bristol here. Not sure what that is. Duple bodied. It's a Dennis Javelin. What a beautiful double-decker Leyland here, 1967. Wow, I have to stand back a bit just to fit it all in. The Leyland Tiger, Alexander bodied. Taking a rag to an AEC, a Bristol RE, and a Crosville double-decker on the end here. Is that a Bristol perhaps? Yep. Bristol VRT of 1981. There's a bonny little Western National Bristol LH. It's quite short. I wonder if it's been shortened a bit. It's very unusual bodywork on that one. Omo, one-man operated bus. So this was around about the time that they were getting rid of the Clippies. So instead of hopping on the back and getting your bus from the conductor, the ticket rather from the conductor, you'd come in the front here and the driver would do all that before setting off again. So one-man operation. That was the future, apparently. And there's that mighty Mercedes that we saw coming off the trailer just a few minutes ago. We're on the back row now, and we've got another little Ford D series here. It's quite a late one on a V plate, it was 1979. Great Foden, all the way from Wilmslow. Next to an Atkinson, a very lofty cabbed Atkinson. Again, fantastic sign writing. Ooh, the window's open. Let's have a quick peer in through the window at the driver's compartment. Wow. What a beauty that is as well. What a contrast, a huge phone complete with live-in van on the back. Wow. That's camping in luxury, that is. I'm sure that's really beautifully appointed inside. What a rig that is. So we've got this huge setup here, and then just over here, if I just sneak through here, we've got a Foden lorry, beautiful, and a little Morris minivan on an H registration, complete with vent-in roof. I saw one or two of those at Bicester Heritage the other day in the roof of rally prepared cars. MGA comes to mind, and then this is a Lambretta Willem, a little micro van, 1967.
Mine had Metro turbo engine with that.
There's a beautiful Scamel again with a wonderful living van on the back. Beautiful setup that is. Well, let's carry on along the back row here.
Oh, right, yeah.
AEC Mandator, which one is it? Scania with Ford on the back. A DAF. Another Atkinson. Looking wonderful here in the North Wales sunshine. A Scammell contractor. The first times I came to this particular event, the vehicles used to be displayed on the main, well, the second main street in the town centre in Llandudno itself. And we came in the A40. Ooh, got Triumph Herald bonnet catches. Yeah, we used to bring the A40 to this event 30 or so years ago. Maybe one day we'll do it again, but I think, in all honesty, to find the time to get on with the A40 we might have to do a bit of downsizing on the fleet, because there's just too much to look after back at home. What a great old Scammell. Wow. The sun's in a bit of an awkward position, so let's go around this side. Oh, that's better, isn't it? I hope it's got a good handbrake, or transmission brake probably on something like this.
I'll keep it in my
There are lots and lots of stalls here selling all manner of goodies, some old, some new, craft, antiques, a bit of everything. Where my youthful assistant has gone in his quest for old oil cans and petrol tins is anyone's guess. But I think I will go and take some photographs of the things that we've done video of now, and then we will go and find the cars and the tractors, I think, so I'll be back shortly. Many old things for sale. Right, let's go and find the cars. If you've seen any of the Crew Heritage videos, you'll recognise this fine old Land Rover, a super original old Land Rover. So as predicted, Harley has been buying. We've got a Gunk brush it on, hose it off, Gunk solution tin. What a beauty that is. And a Castrol gear oil, TH10 Hypo 90 grade gear oil. It's actually quite full, that, so I might end up using some of that one day. Who knows? But yeah, a couple of great finds there. I knew he wasn't going to leave here empty-handed. Right, well, we've found the cars, so let's have a look, see what cars are here. At the beginning of this row, the start of this row, we've got a 1962 Austin 7 Mini and a Wolseley 1500 from the same BMC stable, a Triumph 1500. Where have we seen that one before? Possibly the WEM vehicles of interest. A VW Beetle convertible, proper Carman converted convertible. Mark II Cortina, someone's revving their Mustang. Morris Minor Traveller 1971, that's a late one. Very late example that is. A little Austin 7 box saloon, about 1932 or 3, something like that. Hang on. 1932, there we go. Chevrolet Coupe, a Stovebolt 6 apparently. Very similar era to the Dodge Tourer that we had. Now here's a rare old girl, a Singer Gazelle. That's quite an early one with that style of front. So not only is it a rare Singer Gazelle, it's a convertible, a 3-position convertible Gazelle. Wow. What a lovely interior in there. Nice walnut veneers, 2-tone seats, a pipe seating. And a folding roof. The Mustang stopped, that's good news. Yeah, that's quite an early one of those. There must only be a handful of those left anywhere, I would have thought. Such a rare car, that is. Mark 1 Escort, of course, a Fiat Panda. These are getting popular now. The pre-war Riley. This is a Riley 9 Special 4-seat tourer. Alfa Romeo Spider, left-hand drive. We've got an Austin A40 4-door, complete with trailer no less. Let's have a quick look at that. Wow, a mono-wheel trailer. The A35s have a longer plinth on the middle of the bonnet there. And the mountings for the side lights are also different. They're rubber on the A30 and I think they're metal on the A35. Different grills as well, different size rear window. Nissan Figaro based on a Micra in the mid-50s. Morris Oxford. Wow, that looks original. The paint looks so original on that. That's a proper preservation job. 1956 Oxford Series 2 Empire Green. Wow, 14,000 miles from new. It's come up from Craven Arms in Shropshire. That is an incredible car. How has that survived? And this beautiful original paint's just got a nice sort of dull glow to it. Absolutely wonderful. Well, let's carry on. We've got a Granada Coupe, a 3-litre coupe. The Mark 1 Ford Escort, looks a bit fruity, that one. The Daimler 250. Shut up. The Daimler V8 250. The PA Cresta, Vauxhall Cresta. Always wild colour schemes on these. Wow, that's beautiful, that. Look at all that chrome work. Proper 50s rock and roll. And a much later Cresta here. So what year is that? That's a 66. I wonder which is rarer, the PA or this later example. Probably this, actually, because people were starting to preserve those, that era, the sort of 50s, late 50s rock and roll Crestas, probably before people were saving these. And by the time people's attention turned to these, they were probably all rotted away. Next to that, we've got a Herald 1360 convertible on a J plate. Audi, is that a Quattro? Yep, the UR Quattro. Oh, look at this now, you don't see these very often. This was the final evolution, if you like, of the Standard 10. This is the Standard Pennant. They didn't make these for very long. So compared to the 10, they've got these little hooded bits over the headlamps. That's a difference at the front. Not many differences, the badges are slightly different. The running gear is still the same 948cc engine. And round the back here, we've got these little peaks on the rear wings as well. That's the difference between the 10 and the Pennant. So mechanically it's very similar to R8 and the 10, but visually it was just freshened up a little bit, just to sort of keep the model soldiering on for a little bit longer before the Herald was ready. And of course these were monocoque construction in the modern way, but the Herald that came along later wasn't. They had a separate body and chassis. And yeah, that's a real treat to see that, because it's a long time since I've seen one of those. I'll make sure I get some photographs of that later when I scoot back round, just grabbing a few pictures. Right, let's carry on. P1800S Volvo, lovely, X-Type Jag, and an HC Vauxhall Viva. You just see how low slung these Marcoses is if you compare it to the Viva alongside. That gives a really good comparison of just how low slung those are. Early cars were Volvo powered and then they went to Ford. We've got a Mini Mark III, I think, on a J. Beautiful little car, and a Trojan bubble car. A late MGB GT, one of the Jubilee models. Now, a bit of vintage motoring here. We've got a Kleino Tourer. That's nice to see. Don't see too much vintage stuff these kind of events anymore. I'm sure the cars are still out there, but maybe people just don't use them as much now. I don't know, but it's lovely to see this 1926 Clino 4-seat Tourer. Beautiful, that is. Lovely old nickel plating. It's not chrome. There's a slight yellowish tinge to it, and that shows that it's nickel plated. Motor BP Spirit. Petrol can there on the running board. 3 shillings. That was the deposit. So when you went, before petrol stations and petrol pumps were widespread, you'd buy your petrol in these old cans. And you would hand over a deposit, in this case 3 shillings, and you get that back when you return the tin. So that's what that's all about. Yeah, that's beautiful, that is. There's a little picnic hamper on the back. 4-wheel brakes. That was to warn anyone that was following who was used to cars with 2-wheel braking, which could take a little while to come into effect. So this would stop quite promptly, so that might deter people from following too close if they only had 2-wheel braking themselves. So that's what that was all about. Yeah, what a treat to see that Clino. Next to that, we've got a Hillman. It's a Hillman Minx, very original paint on this one as well. Now, row 2, we've got a Ford Prefect. This is very similar to the one that we had, an E93A Prefect. These were made either side of the war. Wow, look at that. This is, I think this is an Irish registered example. Carlo Vintage and Classic Motor Club. Fantastic, look at that. That's in great condition, that is. Got a Mercedes, a 124 series, a W123 series, the E30 BMW 3 series, Audi, so what's that, Audi 80, 1988, a Ferrari, a Rolls, is that Silver Spirit, I think, Cortina Mark 5 in beige, a 2-door car. Land Rover Defender. MG, oh that looks nice. MG Magnet, beautiful, on TR6 wide steel wheels. Doesn't that just have great, that just sits fantastically. What a great car that is. If I ever get round to just selling off everything and buying just 1 or 2 maybe replacements, that would definitely be a possible on our shopping list. Okay, let's carry on past the Sierra. A Fiat 127 Sport, amazing they haven't all rusted away. Got a Daimler version of the XJ Series 2, complete with steel sliding sunroof. That's quite unusual. You don't see too many XJs with steel roofs in them. Still got the original coach line down the side. Such an elegant shape, beautiful looking cars, I think. It's hard to believe that a car that stunning was a mass-produced car. I just think the line along the side there and the way the rear wing curves down is just fantastic. Okay, right, let's carry on. An Austin 1300 Estate, the Countryman. It's in 1973 with just 26,000 miles on the clock. Incredible. It's for sale as well. There you go. If you want an AD016, I did a video just looking at loads of examples of AD016s not that long ago. Yeah, that's a rare survivor that is. I don't think that's original, but otherwise, yeah. What a cracker. Okay, got a Farina here. This is a Wolseley 1660. That's got the 1622 engine. I used to have one of those. Cortina Mark 1 4-door. A Capri Laser limited edition. A Morris with a homemade pickup body on it. Mark 1 Capri here, Ford Capri, the car you always promised yourself. This is a 1600 GT. So that's one rung up the ladder from the 1300. We've got a slightly modified MGB Roadster with louvers in bonnet. Another modified MGB. Another of the Arrow series Hillman Minxes. Chevy 3100. Early 1950s. It's a one-piece windscreen, so that makes it a 1954 year, I think. Yeah, Idaho 54. The early ones had a split screen. Wow, and a V8 Ford, a 1935 Ford V8 four-door saloon. Wowzers. Again, mass-produced car, but what a stunning vehicle that is. 1935 Ford Model 48. What a cracking looking car that is.
No, that's a Ford.
The old Ford and a Chevy truck make a great American pair, don't they? Let's have a quick peek in the window. A non-original dash in this one. Actually, it says GMC in there on the little ashtray in the middle of the dash. But it says 3100 out here. 3100 being the half-ton Chevrolets. Yeah, it's a Chevrolet, isn't it? Wow. For an agricultural sort of working vehicle, they did sort of certainly spend the time styling these things, and lashings of chrome and so on. Of course, this was quite a late example, so maybe they were just trying to get rid of the last few before the new model came along. Okay, let's carry on down here. Got a little Isetta, BMW Isetta. Please do not touch. Fair enough. Got an incredible Cadillac over here. Wow. Hello. I like this plate. 1929 Alberta plate. That's Canada, isn't it?
Nice exhaust.
Yeah, Chevrolet exhaust tip. Yeah, next to this Caddy, we've got a Chevy 3100 Thrift Master van. Wowzers. That's fantastic. Like I say, these ones had the split screen. This is a 1950. That's cool. Slightly different grille treatment on the 50 versus the 54 that was down there a minute ago. Oh, that's cool. What's that?
Citroen Rosalie.
Citroen Rosalie. Wow, that is original, isn't it? That is phenomenal. Look at that.
Hello, Trouble. How are you?
1933 1760cc. There's an autocar road test of the Citroen Big 12 Deluxe Saloon. Several things are particularly interesting about the Big 12 Citroen. First of all, because the firm has always been famous for a sound four-cylinder car, and now, for 1932, that four-cylinder engine has been increased in size. Wowzers. So a quick peek through the window. And around the back. Very large luggage area on this one. Very sizable boot. Many cars this era didn't have anything, maybe just a little rack on the back, so to have a full-size boot like that is quite a thing. Look at the badge on it. Floating power. Wowzers. Even the door handles are neat. You've seen the shape of the door handles, they're just lovely, aren't they?
So nice.
I don't think I've ever seen one of those before. Here's the boot lid area open. Wow, so the top lid bit hinges up and the bottom bit hinges down. We've got a fantastic old inner tube in here, I do like that. Wowzers. Yes, that's great. There's plenty of room in that, isn't it? That's incredible. So where did you find this?
Do you know the area?
Vaguely, yeah.
About half a mile over that hill.
Was it?
Yeah.
Is it? Well, well, had it been laid up for a while, or?
It'd been laid up since 1961.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
How long ago was that then that you found it?
2004, I think.
Oh, right. Nice.
It was laid up at mine then until 5 years ago, and then we started putting it together. And
wow. So how do you go on for parts? Is it everything in France, is it?
so easy to get them.
Is it?
Yeah, but cost is the
I can
main
imagine.
criteria.
I can imagine, yeah. Let's have a quick peek in through the door as it's open. Just have a quick look.
That back door, if you wish.
All right, yeah, let's have a quick peek inside. So we've got rear hinge doors on the back. Yes. Wow, there's plenty of legroom in there, isn't there? What a phenomenal car that is. So what do the little winders do here? Oh, wow. So even the little rear corner windows wind down as well. Isn't that amazing? Very small instrumentation. So we've got fuel, oil pressure, speedometer, the charge, the ammeter, or voltmeter rather, and a little clock right at the end there. Yeah, isn't that lovely? Citroen branded pedal rubbers as well, centre throttle, lovely old heater there as well. All the mod cons, all the luxuries. Yeah, that's a joy, that is. And here we've got a pair of Chevettes, a rare Chevette estate no less. When did you last see one of those, or even the Chevan, the van version? Very, very rare cars now. We've got a 3-door hatch over there. A Daimler V8 on the end over there. That's on a 64 registration. Some are called the V8 250s and the others, but I can't remember which came first, the V8 250 name or the 2.5 litre V8. I can't remember quite which was which. But either way, the same engine, 2.5 litre V8 Edward Turner designed engine. Okay, very modified. We've got a Mark II Escort with Vauxhall engine.
Perhaps a Nova engine or something.
I don't know what it is, to be honest.
Nova 90s.
Could be. A Fiat 500. A mini pickup. This mighty Rolls Royce, we've seen this one at the Combermere, haven't we? We've seen this at the Combermere meet, at Crew Heritage. Yeah. Gets around a bit, does this magnificent Rolls. A P6. Quite an early P6 with the early front, I do like those. A Ford Orion, the booted Escort. 4-door. ADO 16, the Morris, so what's that, 1300 probably, by K-Reg. A Land Crab. The Austin 1800, and this is the early one with the horizontal rear lights, I think. And there we go. So you've got little hips on the back of the back wing there, and these horizontal lamps. This is 1967, so it's a fairly early Land Crab, as they were unofficially called. Later examples had the vertical lamps up there. Very spacious, hugely spacious cars inside. Again, transverse engines. I like Isagonis design. Super practical, but very rare now. Okay, let's see what else we got. MGTD, Triumph Stag Mark II, Granada Estate. Look at the size of that. What a handy bit of kit that is. Perfect for auto jumbles. Next to that, we've got an Austin 7 Chummy. It's quite an early one with headlights on the scuttle, as we've mentioned before. Let's have a look at the date, 1927. It's a very sweet little vehicle, isn't it? Next to that, a Morris 10.4. It's for sale as well. Oof. No mention of price. So how much is that going to be? About 8, I would have thought, something like that. Maybe a bit more.
7 to 9.
Yeah, something like that, wouldn't it? Mini Ford Capri. Another Ford Orion. Delta Integrale. Bit of a giggle. Sunbeam Alpine. Nice 4-door Mark I Cortina there. And what's this? Somewhat modified Vauxhall Cresta. Bit of the rat rod look going on there. Quite a rare thing now. Triumph TR3A. Wider grille, outside door handles. That tells you it's a 3A as opposed to a 3. A Punto Cabriolet. Rare sight.
1 of 17.
Is that all? 1 of 17. One of the posh versions of the Chevette 3-door, tinted glass. The Rover 3.5 litre saloon, P5B. I used to run one of these, an A55 Cambridge Mark II.
Really like that P5.
Which is nice, yeah. The one I had was 1959. I think they built these from about 59 to 61,
yes,
or something like that. Was it?
Yes, it is, because I read the information in this earlier.
Oh, did you?
I think it's like the only one of...
Paraphernalia. We like a bit of paraphernalia.
There we go. This is the only 1961
Produced car left in existence in the UK. One of only 10 left from the 59 to 61 production. How many left? Yeah. That's not always very reliable though, that website. It depends very much on how the details were entered when DVLA first registered the car. But even though I think there's probably more than 10 of them around, these fin-tail Cambridges, they aren't all that common now. Okay, Triumph Stag. And a Jaguar Mark II.
This is lovely on the side.
This is. What size are we looking at here? 3.4. Big 59 Caddy convertible here. Wow, space age stuff there. Incredible, incredible car. It was the last year of the really big fins for 1960. Things were toned down just a little bit, but 59 was the height of the fin era. Great little truck there, Mustang. What's this, an Oldsmobile 98?
This Metro is actually really interesting. Metro van is like
A Metro van? Good heavens. These all got worked to death. Totally original. It is in great order. These plastics all fade and crack usually. So keeping them in good order like this isn't easy. Wow, so original.
It's like it's just come out.
It is actually a rare machine. A rally chopper. Had one of those. Maestro Advantage. One of 2 left on the road, it says. Where have I seen this one before? Crewe, Western Park, many places. Right, and here we've got a Wolseley 680. So what is this then? It's a 6-cylinder Wolseley, but the main body shell, this bit that you can see from here to about there, is Morris Oxford MO. And then they put the longer front on it to accommodate the larger engine, and the proud upright Wolseley grille there, illuminated badge, as is the case on all Wolseleys. They light up with the headlights when you put those on. This is a 1952 Wolseley 680, the oldest 680 in existence known to the club, BCC 499. So CC, that's a local North Welsh registration. I didn't bring my I Spy book, no, I know. Devastated, aren't you? Austin Cooper S, Mark 1, very desirable now. Sunbeam Talbot Tourer. I like the mascot on that. We've seen this. We saw this only very recently, didn't we? Yeah. Little Austin 7 Special. I like the wheels. Those are very tasty little wheels, aren't they? Complete with fake knock-ons, so they're still held on with a standard 3 wheel nuts. So on the Austin 7, you don't need to fully remove your wheel nuts to take the wheel off. All you do is back them off. The 3 nuts, you just back them off a little bit, and then you can rotate the wheel a little bit, and then slide it off over this bit. So that's something that I think was probably unique to the Austin 7. Oh, that's a very bonny little car, 1932 Cambridge Special. Looks like fun. And what's this? Is this a Railton? Yeah, very square rigged, the Railtons. You can always, yeah, I think these were Hudson based. Yeah, it probably is a straight 8, you're right.
Yeah, so there's a big engine in it.
Yes, it'll be a hefty engine. Yeah, very distinctive, very, like I say, very distinctive shape to the radiator surround on these. Was it? Can you see it through the louvers? Wow, there's a big engine in there. We can't really see, but
Very nice.
yeah, rare car that is. Okay, we've got a little Hillman Imp there. Mark 1 Golf GTI. Cavalier SRI, the sporty one. A 205 Peugeot, the XS version. T-Reg Capri. Mark 3 Golf. Merc C-Class. Carmen Golf Cabriolet. Another much modified Escort, a Cosworth engine. At least this one's got a Ford engine, the other one had a Vauxhall engine in it. Was it a red top, something like that? And we've got a Proton. Don't see those everywhere now. One time I used to see them, used to be badged up as triple valves, I think, if I remember right. We've got a 5-door Vauxhall Nova on an F plate. Cortina Mark 4, various manuals, £1 each. Yeah, Mark 4. I think those were quite a lot rarer than the Mark 5s. I don't think they made them for as long. I could be wrong. A little Sunbeam. A little Sunbeam Alpine.
This is really
Another Alpine. Different roofs.
I really like
Yeah, that's the finned one, isn't it? The earlier one, the yellow one. Escort van. Escort 1300L, 4-door saloon. Ah, Morris Minor 1000. 1965, a Triumph Acclaim. It was a collaboration with BL, Triumph and Honda. And here's a Mark V Cortina on the end of the row here, behind the Daimler 250. Okay, next row, RS 2000, an E-Series Vauxhall Cresta of the mid-1950s. Welsh registration on ace plates, of which we approve, of course. We've got a Mini here, so what's this, a Mark III Mini on an L.
I love those Crestas.
So no slidey windows in these, although this is actually a later shell because it should have the double gutter on it. That's the usual thing that you see on the Mark III, so this has been reshelled. It's been reshelled at some point. Right, carry on, another E-Series here. Wow, that's a lovely looking car, isn't it? What a stunning bit of kit that is. Really inspired by the American scene of the day. Lovely seat covers, bit of a whiff of petrol, built-in radio. Right, let's carry on. Now, is this a 2000 or a 2.5? This is the Triumph 2000, a Mark II on an L plate. So what's that, 72? Got a Morris 1800 now. We had the Austin before. This is a bit later, and this should have the vertical rear lamps, whereas the Austin we saw before had the horizontal lamps. Yes, this has got the much taller rear lamps. So that's the difference between the early. I don't know. Maybe they just thought it looked a bit better. A friend of mine's dad had an Austin 1800S, the twin carburettor version, in this exact same colour. When I was a nipper, when I were a lad, all those years ago. Right, let's carry on down here. Another Nova. Is that an SR or SRI? Yeah, SR 1.3, 1986. A much modified Manta.
This says powered by Saab.
Does it?
2-litre Saab turbo.
Has it got a Saab engine?
Like 900 or something?
Yeah, probably. Oh, what we got here? A standard 10.
It's quite an early 10, actually, 58.
Yeah, so we saw the Pennant before, which was a year or so later than this.
I really like that.
Yeah, so the Pennant that we saw before had the peaks over the headlights and the different shaped rear wings. And being a 10, of course it's got an opening boot lid, the luxury of luxuries, a full opening boot lid.
Is it not off the seats as well?
No, it's just got the one-piece rear seat.
Because wasn't there a time where there was
both? There was, we saw one, didn't we, somewhere?
Yeah.
Where was that?
There was both,
Western Park. So that was like an interim car, wasn't it, which had the opening boot lid, but it still had the split rear the seats. Yeah, that's pretty much the same. A lovely green colour, one of my favourite colours for one of those. And we've got a Series 1 Daimler version of the XJ on a K. Is it manual, is it? So 1971. Yeah. MGB, quite an unusual colour. Is it? It's a 66. It's a 66 registration.
It said 65 on the information.
Right, it could well be. Another Austin 7 box saloon, built shortly before the Ruby came along. So what's that? 1933. Another Audi, and next to that, a Mark II Astra GTE. Got a 1930 Austin 7 Tourer here. And the basic as it could be, really, isn't it? I love the way they had a plate on the dashboard listing all the patents.
It must be so easy to work on.
It's a tiny car, isn't it? Short bonnets, some of them had longer bonnets. They did vary a lot, even though at first glance Austin 7s all look very similar at this age. Painted radiator surround, separate badge. Usually this was cast into the surround. This one's screwed on.
Everything's so easy to get at.
Yeah, it's a little 747cc side valve, 4-cylinder engine. Little Zenith carburettor there. So you've got a gravity fuel feed. There's your fuel filler cap. The fuel tank is built into the bulkhead, and then it just drips down here. So you've got a little shut-off valve there, a bit like on a lawnmower, and that just dribbles down into the Zenith. No, it's just gravity fed. Yes. We don't like fuel pumps. Right, yeah, beautiful little car. That is tiny bonnet. Look how small that is. Another pre-war gem here. This is a Wolseley Hornet Saloon, a 6-cylinder car, small capacity 6-cylinder car. These sound really, really nice. There's one or two of these turn up at local events to us, and it's a beautiful little sound. Straight 6 engine under that bonnet. Another one of the Daimler 2.5 litres. Austin 7, another little Tourer. Next to this beautiful Chrysler V8 engined Jensen Interceptor 3, we've got a Jaguar XK150 TSU 598, beautiful British racing green car, fixed head coupe, proper looking car that is. Let's just carry on around here. It's quite busy here today, but the good weather's helping, I think. Got an Escort there, RS2000, another Jensen, this time showing off its Chrysler engine. Let's have a quick peek under here then. This is 1972 Interceptor 3 in fawn brown. If you haven't seen it yet, I did do a video all about brown cars, so if you can't stand the thought of missing out on that, please check the rest of the channel to see that. But yeah, if I'd had a photo of this, I would have definitely included it. Maybe I did, who knows.
I've seen it before.
Yeah, we may have seen it somewhere, maybe Smallwood.
Yes.
A couple of modern XKs. Jaguar S-Type R, so this unless it's cheating, yeah, it's an S-Type R, so that's got the 4.2 litre V8 supercharged engine in it out of the X308 XJR. Nice early Cortina Mark 1, still badged as console at this point in time, so that marks it out as an early one, pre-Aeroflow. Triumph Vitesse, convertible. Yeah, what a great set of cars here today in Llandudno. Variety is the spice of life, and this is a rare little old girl. It's a Mazda 121. It's one of those sort of cars that all but have disappeared, possibly due to scrappage schemes, that kind of thing. But a rare sight now. And this is a sort of car, when people come to these events, this is a sort of car now that people associate with. Maybe 30 years ago, 20, 30 years ago, people could all associate it with Austin A40s and Ford Pops, that kind of thing. But now it's these cars of the 1980s that really resonate with people, and there are very few of them still on the road, so it's great to see them here at events like this. But that's a lovely little A30, that is, isn't it? Four-door. And there's many, many bicycles and mopeds, and there's a bit of everything here today. But mustn't get distracted, so back to the cars. Got a Super Minx Estate, 1966. I like that a lot. It's great, it is neat, isn't it? I love the colour of it. Got a Metro, Morris convertible, a Morris 1100 AD016 four-door car, very nice indeed. Models. Anglia convertible, we saw this at the North Wales Classic Car Show in 2022, I remember seeing that one. Funny little mini, cut down minis, a cut down Metro. I wonder what the Mark V Cortina Saloon, 427 Cobra replica. Morris Mine 1000 two-door on mini light style wheels, very nice. MGB on V8 alloys, but is it a V8? No. Now is this the one that went to the evening meet organised by the Whitchurch Motor Club that had that fancy Alta engine conversion? I'll have to check my photographs, because I've got a feeling there's certainly a car like this, an early split screen Tourer. That's an MM, it's the Highlight MM. So that would have originally had the side valve engine in it, same as a Morris 8 Series E. But I'm sure I've seen a car like this with the Alta overhead valve engine conversion. Maybe it wasn't this one, but it's one just like that. Either way, lovely old car, complete with towing eye on the front. Elvis TD21 drop head, we saw some of these, or a couple of these, one drop head and one fixed head coupe at Bicester Heritage last weekend. Early Series 2 Morris Minor Tourer with the cheese grater grille before they went to the horizontal slats. MGB GT on mini lights, very nice, does suit them. Aston Martin DB7, Ford Cortina Mark III on an M-Reg, that's a four-door saloon. Austin 7, a Ruby, oh, it's a Pearl Cabriolet, please forgive me, I failed to spot the fold-back roof. I was mistaken there I was misled rather with the fixed door surrounds, so when I glanced across I assumed it was a Ruby, but no, it's the Pearl Cabriolet. And as we come round the back we can see the roof arrangement on this particular car. Oh, very bonny indeed. And we've got a Console Classic two-door next to it, dark green, and a Hillman Avenger. Next to another brace of MGBs, we've got this fantastic camper van, Austin 152 based camper. What a great thing, this is a Paralanian. Ideal for a weekend away in a rally field such as this in North Wales. How great is that? You could even sell ice creams out of it. Right, we've got a bay window VW, an E28 5 Series, about 1986 or thereabouts. Yeah, sharp looking car that is. And on the end, a Renault 12. Slice of British Leyland beige here, and this rare Morris Ital 1.3 SLX. That was one of the posher ones. I used to have all the brochures on these at one time. Yeah, it's got Ital mud flaps on it, which it's got the hubcaps, the wheel trim things as well. Makes it a bit more unusual. Head restraints for the front driver and passenger. Plush seats. 4-speed manual gearbox, and you can't really see it unfortunately, but quite a strange dashboard that tilted the radio away from the driver, which is an interesting, super clean example. Yeah, it's got an A+ engine in it.
Those things would have been injected by this time.
Well, they're still on carburetors then, a little SU carburetor on it. Next to that, a Mini 1000 on an S plate. And here, Ford Capri GT. We actually passed this on the way over on the A55 today. Ambling along at a steady 60-65, a V6 engine under the bonnet of this one. There's something about 1950s cars, maybe it's just the curvy shape or the lashings of chrome, but I just think they're beautiful. And this is a Velox, an E-Series Vauxhall Velox. So that would be, what would that be? That would be a 6-cylinder car, so it's sort of mid-range between the 4-cylinder Wyvern. So I remember looking at this lamp recently somewhere else with a V on it, so maybe this was a special Vauxhall dealer fit option perhaps. But yeah, lovely, lovely car. Next to that, you don't see too many of these around. An A40 Farina Mark II. We like A40s, our Mark I is still sat in the garage at home, hoping for a longed for restoration one day, which may or may not happen, but fingers crossed it will. And if I don't do it, then Harley will have to do it. It's quite an early Mark II, still on a non-dating registration, but yeah, very smart. The Bond Bug next to that, the 700 ES, Fiat Coupe.
Really like it. I think that's quite nice looking.
What, the Fiat?
Yeah. I mean, I like the Austin as well. I think that's lovely.
Yeah, with Austin 10.4 Litchfield. This was a replacement for the 32 to 34 Chrome Rad Austin 10s. We see this at many events throughout the year, and it's great that it gets all the way over here to North Wales and beyond probably. Next to that, Ford Corsair, a V4 4-door Corsair Saloon. Ooh, we've got a Ford Transit camper on manoeuvres on an M plate. We're drawing towards the end of the cars, at least in this part of the show area. We've got a Mark III Ford Zodiac, 1965, and a very eye-catching, very colourful Ford Model T. Usually they're black, any colour you like, so long as they're black, which I don't think Henry Ford actually ever said, but seems to be associated or attributed to him. But yeah, a brass rad era car, so a fairly late Model T, I suspect. Made in Canada. That makes it a bit more unusual. Great Model T Tourer. Can we just have a quick look at the dates? Let's see if we can see the dates. 1923. There we go. So it's Canadian manufacture, this one.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, it's right-hand drive for starters. Being right-hand drive, you normally think that these were built at Trafford Park in Manchester, where Ford had an assembly plant. And most right-hand drive Model Ts that you see in this country were built up, in Manchester. Two-wheel brakes sign on the back of this one.
Another one of those badges on a Clino over there.
Yeah.
And it's just a lovely day, isn't it?
Yeah, the body shape is just different, isn't it, compared to the ones you normally see. You don't normally see these really wide sort of skirts below the doors.
It's like brass, isn't it? I thought that was really weird.
Yes, this is very different to the usual Model Ts that you see. Yeah, Tuckett Brothers are the specialists in Ford Model Ts. So maybe they supplied this one. But yeah, it's quite an unusual car. There's a Speedo drive on the front end. I pointed this out on a little bullnose Morris down at Bicester Heritage last weekend. It's a very similar arrangement on this. It's probably optional, but that's your drive. You got the two cogs and then the drive up to the aftermarket speedometer, which is somewhere inside. Transverse leaf front spring, which was common to Fords for years and years and years. That was a feature of all the sit-up and beg Ford Pops and the Anglias and so on as well. Just have a quick look at the Speedo. There it is, a Stewart speedometer, so that's probably an aftermarket fitment, I would have thought. Next to that lovely Model T, we've got a similarly coloured Rover P6, a 3.5 litre 3500S, which is a manual gearbox car. And one interesting fact that I found out recently, you've got these little telltales on the tops of the front lamps. That just is a reminder that you've got your side lights on. But on some markets, that was deemed to be a safety hazard, so that was removed. So this just came up here, but didn't have the little pip on the top. So there you go. Interesting little fact there. So they often snap off, so sometimes you see them missing and someone's just snapped them off or sat on them or bumped into them walking past. But yeah, so sometimes you might see an export one of these, but it doesn't have those little things on there. And over here, wow, Humber Hawk. Is this the one that was at Weston Park? Yeah, I had quite a chat with the couple that own this fantastic car. They were very enthusiastic about it and they get all over in it as well. And it's just a lovely, lovely car. Beautiful interior in this one. 1954 Humber Hawk Mark V saloon car. Lovely and original inside as well. It has had paint at some point, but not in recent years. Proper period radio in there as well. Yes, I remember lusting after this just a few weeks ago at Weston Park, and it's great to see it here in Llandudno. Such a usable 50s saloon. Ah, the window's open. Let's have a quick peek in through the window. How comfy does that look? Beautiful leather bench seats. Very stylish dashboard. Roots Group really knew how to do their interiors, and a great view down the bonnet as well to that mascot right at the front there. Lovely jubbly. I almost walked past this super original, still dusty Mark I Escort, full of old goodies in the back as well. I remember seeing this somewhere a few years ago, maybe Cholmondeley Castle, something like that. It's super original, untouched, as found. Mark I Escort, two-door. A great little Bedford CF ice cream van here as well. What's this over here? A really intriguing little Dodge camper van, 1969 Dodge family wagon. That looks super original paint on that. Don't think I've ever seen one of those before, maybe the odd van, but I don't think I've seen a camper van before. Well, the cars are over there, and over here we have more commercial vehicles, mainly vans and some fire appliances over the back there, but I just had to have a quick look at this comma van. What a cracker that is. Complete with blackout mask on the headlamp there. Wartime regulations, of course. Lions Tea. Built in 1936. There's the history, so if you want to have a quick read, just pause the video.
Whoa, Dad, look at that.
What is it?
I'm going to concentrate on some of the vehicles we haven't seen before in previous videos. Next to this Bedford CA, we've got a little Thames 300E. An Austin 7 van. Now we have actually seen this one before. I think it was at the Malpa Steam Rally or the Vintage Rally, but why not show it again? Wow, absolute stunner. Pair of wonderful Bedfords here. This is a 1951 Bedford K-type tipper. You can see the beautifully restored tipper body on the back there. Again, wonderful sign writing all the way over from Home Firth, home of Last of the Summer Wine. Another one here. This has come over from Sheffield. Okay, here we go, another Chevy 3100, a pickup, complete with old trunk in the back. Ooh, hello madam. Next to that, a Model T truck, 1927. A Bedford, VW. And a Morris Z van. This was a contemporary of the Morris 8 saloons, of course. But this is the little commercial van version. Many of these were used by the post office. We saw this one at Weston Park only a few weeks ago, the Portofol Caravan with Morris Traveller tow vehicle. A Morris lorry there, North Wales. A Transit Mark 1 drop side pickup. So that's the flat from, I think that's a petrol engine one, and then the one with this pointy front is the diesel. Ford truck we've seen these two at Crew Heritage before now. Someone's showing off their air horns, very impressive. Got a great three-wheel Scammell here. Now the early ones are called a Scarab as used by British Railways, but I think this is a Scammell Townsman. Fiberglass body, if I'm correct. I think these are fiberglass cabbed. Yeah, you can see the I can see the fiberglass cab in the back there. There we are. 66 Scammell Townsman mechanical horse. Yeah, an amazing vehicle that will turn in its own wheelbase, I think. Right, let's have a quick scoot down here and see what other commercial vehicles we haven't seen before. Some of these look familiar, so we'll skip by some of those. A Thames 4D with a Bedford, beautiful. If I could fit one of those in the garage, I'd be very tempted. Now this is rare, 400E. Thames 400E, the Ford Control. This one, 1964. That's beauty, that. Yeah, that's lovely, that, isn't it? Here we've got a Mini 95 van, 1972 or thereabouts, 73, yeah. And a very unusual Thames 400E. I've never seen one bodied like this before. What a wild looking vehicle that is. Megan's Welsh Pantry. Mark II CA, or CAS, short wheelbase, 1959. That's a great little van, that, isn't it?
It's a really nice livery on the side.
It is, isn't it? Nice sign writing. So much to see here in sunny Llandudno. With a Fordson, is this the same one? Fordson standard tractor. It's a four-wheel drive Transit there. I'll come across those every day. Nice Morris pickup truck. The matching pair of Mini 95s. Apologies for the generator. A Mini 95 van and a Mini 95 pickup. Incredible Ford Model A van. This J-type, I've seen that in one or two places before now, including the NEC and Smallwood. Bedford in the same ownership, and a little Moggy van and Another Morris J-Type, this time a van. Over on this row we've got Fire Appliance Corner. Look at that, Dennis. Pilkington Brothers Limited. So that's an on-site, factory-owned, private fire appliance. Got a Dennis here. Land Rover, Westmoreland Fire Brigade, Appleby. Not quite sure what that is. Look at this, a little Lambro 175. I'm going to have to look at the information sheet for this one. Innocenti Lambro. Lambretta Lambro 3-wheeler, fire engine 1965. Wow. You could keep that in your living room, couldn't you? That is fantastic. Flatbed bodied Bedford. Wow. That's like new, isn't it? BDC, Bedford Drivers Club badge. Nice slotted screw. Oh. Mark 1 Escort van. Lovely Morris half-ton van.
It's quite like the shape.
Yeah, nice, isn't it? I like the trim down the side, like the cars.
Yeah, there's another one. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, a Morris van, British Telecom, I suspect. Yeah. Bit more Ford 400e action here. Have a drop side pickup truck, and another drop side pickup truck. Great pair there. That one's badged as a Thames diesel. This one just as Ford 1960. This particular example, with a Moggy van alongside that, with the correct commercial bonnet, with no beading on the side. Only the saloons and the estate had those. The vans and pickups did not. We've got a few beaver tail vehicles here because several of the exhibits here in Llandudno were transported here. And this, actually, I didn't have a look at this before. This is a BMC FG. A Morris or an Austin perhaps. Really unusual cab. A threepenny bit cab they used to refer to these as. This is an Austin FG. And the sort of cab sort of goes around and the door is sort of on the back corner there. That meant you could park in really narrow enclosed areas and get your door open and get in and out without having to have a super wide space. Now here's the van that Harley was referring to. This is an Austin badge version, the other one was a Morris. A little half-ton van of the 1960s. Rare survivor. Actually that's a 71, is it? It's quite a late one. Steam cleaning services.
Is it actually 71?
Yeah, it's quite a late one, isn't it? Yeah. Another 400E.
I thought it was a typo for 61.
Yeah, and there's that little 400E minibus behind it. What a great pair. Now, we're at the military end of the field now, but we're just looking at this. What is this? I'm not quite sure. Apparently it's Austin based. It says 1950 Austin Saloon staff car. So what's the story with this? That front panel looks very much like a wartime Willis Jeep, but if it's 1950 it would be an Austin Devon, or maybe something longer. Maybe there would be Austin 16 clearly. I don't know what. Answers on the postcard please. Column change.
Wood.
Yeah. Is this something that someone's made up? I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what that is. Proper old Land Rovers are also well represented here at the Transport Festival here in North Wales. All sorts. Series 3s, a lightweight, Series 1, very original Series 1, I love the paintwork on that. Series 3, Series 2 or 2A, another one, a short wheelbase pickup truck, and many, many more. Land Rovers as far as you can see. There are some fantastic old Land Rovers here, 1s, 2s, Series 3s and later, but this is the one that catches my eye. This fantastic Series 1 pickup, OCA, local North Wales registration, OCA 417, 1956 grey Land Rover 107 pickup. That is probably the one I would want to be taking home. That is stunning. I think I'll probably lose the little eyelids. I'm not a fan of those, but otherwise, fantastic. Yeah, Land Rovers everywhere. But that, I don't know how rare they are, but I don't remember seeing too many of those. That's the one for me, I think. There are many tractors here. Just have a quick scoot along here just to see what we've got. Of course, we've got loads of grey Fergies, little Leylands, Fordsons, BMCs, various implements, agricultural equipment. Bonny little Leyland here with roof. Yeah, tractors everywhere. Some oily rag like this McCormick International and this Fordson Major, and others very shiny and restored. Bit of everything. That looks like it means business. Looks like a Unimog, Mercedes based. An immaculate restored Nuffield.
Remember that was a baby.
And a very unrestored, but beautiful nonetheless, Nuffield. Supplied by Wales and Edwards Limited for service. Phone Shrewsbury 4474. So if you have any running issues, give them a bell. Now I can see a few interesting old caravans just over there, so we'll just have a quick walk down this line of lovely old tractors, and then we'll go and have a very quick look at the old caravans and equally the vehicles that are pulling them, because I can see some interesting cars over there as well. Corsair convertible here. Look at that over in the distance, a multicoloured Morris Minor with tent. Right, we're over in the caravan section now. A glorious Sunbeam Rapier convertible. Wowzers, the ultimate evolution, I suppose, of the Minx platform. And look at this caravan. Oh my goodness. I can feel my knees turn into jelly just looking at that. It's a Thompson Dart, I think it says on the side. Wow, what a thing. Wow, what a rarity that is.
Tied up inside.
Doggy, look at this. Look at all the fittings in here. How beautiful is that? All proper wood fittings, little gas stove, pyrene fire extinguisher. That is fantastic. Look at the little cupboards here as well. Hello, how are you? Okay, hello. All fitted to fit the tapering shape of the bodywork. Wow, that is wonderful. Next to this Maestro van, we've got this Portafold, 1960s fiberglass folding caravan. You don't see these very often either, not in good condition. Most of them have been well worked and run into the ground by now. Got a fiberglass bodied caravan here, so is it a Viking or something? Yes, Viking Fiberline. Made in Carlisle. Next to that, an Austin Metropolitan. Or the Nash Metropolitan rather, but actually made by Austin. There's this a later one with the boot lid, or minus boot lid. It's a non-boot lid car, so this is one of the slightly earlier cars. These were built by Austin on behalf of Nash in America. And it's even got a matching Portafold caravan to go with it. In later years, Austin carried on making these, but actually sold them as Austin Metropolitans. Yeah, what a great matching pair, car and caravan. Matching colour schemes as well. Fantastic. And over here we've got a Saab 95. Very original looking Saab 95 V4 Estate. And another Portafold again in yellow. Where are all these Portafolds coming from? Further on the caravan row, another Portafold and a Bristol. Wowzers. All these Portafolds. I've never seen so many Portafolds. And another one here. Good lord. Apparently there's now a Portafold Owners Club, which there never was when I had one. Maybe that's why they're all coming out of the woodwork again. A Saab 96. Also a V4, just like that 95 we were looking at a second ago. And look over here, Ford Granada Mark 1, or is it a Granada or is it a Consul? It is a Consul stroke Granada Mark 1. Yeah. And that's also acting as tow vehicle. This is a lovely car-like caravan. Beautiful shape, aren't they? It's just way more interesting than the modern, aren't they? The only downside is, I mean, this is actually a double glazed one as well, so it's got the styling and it's got double glazing, so that would be a really nice caravan to use. Yeah, pulled by a big 3-litre Ford Granada. And on the end here, a G-Wagon. And what's the caravan? Let's have a look. Royale Tourmaster of 1976. Again, very, very stylish. Very stylish, and again, double glaze, so very usable. None of that condensation build-up that you get with single glaze windows in older, simpler caravans. Well, yeah, that's very smart indeed. Another Mark 1 Ford Transit camper van in use here. What a practical thing that is. Right, we're going to wend our way back through the show field and past all these wonderful old coaches in the direction of the car park. Just go and grab a drink and have a final look around here at the Llandudno Transport Festival. What a great day we're having. The weather so far has held off, fingers crossed. There's a little bit of cloud around, but it could be worse. Let me know in the comments if you're a regular here at this particular transport festival, or if your vehicle even features in this video somewhere. If it does, please say hello in the comments. I try to feature as many of the vehicles as possible, but as the case always at these shows, we can't actually include everything in our videos, but we do try our best. Between us, me and Harley, we try and cover most things that are here. Just in the public car park, and we spotted this 4-wheel drive Subaru pickup. These are the ones they call the Brats. I'm not quite sure why. I think that's what this is. You see these occasionally for sale, but they're usually really, really rusty. Also here in the public car park, this fantastic 1966 4-door Moggy. I'm not sure we'll get on them today, but there is a free bus service on these old buses, and you can go into the town where the main Victorian Extravaganza is taking place this weekend. So those old buses and coaches operate like a shuttle service between the two sites. Old lorries and things up here, and Victorian people over in the town. Here in the auto jumble area, we've got a variety of Beetles. All seem to be for sale. I like the colour of this one. A Rally Spec Beetle 1960 it says. POA, price on application. And over here, oh, now this black one looks pretty sleek on the Porsche wheels, a Fuse, or however you pronounce it, wheels. Appear to have a cluster of old bicycles and pedal mopeds. An old Phillips Panda moped there. So how much is that then? £550 with V5 logbook. Good runner. Well, that'd be great to go to the shops on that. It's a rare duo can, petrol can with oil can built into it. That is a rare, rare thing. Pair of miniature Bedfords. Oh, Victory Industries, look at that, standard 10. These are quite rare because the plastic often distorted over time. Wow, look at all those Victory Industries toy cars of the 1950s. Yeah, we've got the standard there, a little Vauxhall E series, another standard, good heavens. Austin Cambridge. Right, well, I think that will probably do for our visit to the 2023 Llandudno Transport Festival. We've been super lucky with the weather. The forecast was looking a bit dubious for this afternoon, but we managed to survive without getting drenched, so that's really, really good news. As I said before, this is a 3-day event, and if you find yourself in North Wales at this time of year, I'd highly recommend popping along to this fantastic event. In the main town, you've got the Victorian Extravaganza, and up here, just outside of the main town, you have this wonderful collection of old vehicles, buses, coaches, trucks, lorries, and much, much more. There's a fairly hefty old double-decker. Anyway, I think that'll do. So thank you very much for watching. Please check out some of the other videos. I'll include a link to some of them at the end of this particular video, but there are several hundred videos to choose from. Memorabilia, car shows, museums, all sorts of things are on the channel now. We've been doing this for several years, so please have a look around before you disappear, and there'll be more videos along very, very soon. So bye for now.